Alright, so what we got to do is we got to use your plans as a guide, and it's basically about 3 inches. The book says we got to trim our ailerons, and because a piece will go right here on the end of your wing, and it butts up to your wingtip. So both ends of it's got to be tapered, cut. It's a good idea at this point. Go ahead and mark them that way there's no questions of which goes where. Right, and this one will be to the left. There. So I just did an L and an R just to identify which one's which. I haven't even marked that one yet. Dang, that would be. Oh, that's gonna get tapered anyway, so it'll be alright. Bingo. And did some light sanding on it outside earlier, and so still got more to do on it, and may have to fill some spots, but she's looking pretty good. Basically what it wants you to do is line these up. You want it to be flush, the top and bottom, and same angle as the wing. So we can take a little tape. It's a trick. Just put this on your seam. Make sure your ends are lined up. For these, the book calls for making sure the edges are lined up, and then use thin CA to set it in place, and then come back with medium or thick CA if you got any gaps to fill the gaps. Yeah, right here I got some small gaps, so I'm going back for some thick CA to fill that gap in. Right here, you just want to check your ailerons for fitment between the two end tabs, trailing edge tabs, and then you'll mark and drill your hole for your control arm to go into, and slot the end of the leading edge of the aileron for that control rod, and the plastic tube for the control rod. You'll end up with it calls for ending up with no gaps in your aileron and leading edge of the aileron and trailing edge of the wing. And that's what I'm doing now, is checking everything, lining it up, and marking the control arms so I can start drilling them, and then we'll move on to hinging. I don't remember which drill bit. 764. Yep. These damn things so dang light, it's hard to see them. There it is. Here I'm getting my hand drill out to mark me a guide hole for the before I start drilling, so that way when you do start drilling it doesn't walk on you. Right here I'm just cutting the slot for the control arm and the plastic tube the control arm rides in. And in the book it tells you can sharpen like a 1/8 brass tube and use it to cut that slot. I just used a X-Acto knife, and then once I get it V'd out like I want it, then just take the side of a drill bit and kind of round out that groove so it fits a little better. Trimming out for that arm. There we go, that looks much better. That'll work. Now we gotta do our hinges and shape the edge of it. And that is why I marked them. I had the wrong one sitting down there on the plans. Right here I'm just using the plans to mark the hinges, because you got to be careful when you're marking your hinges so you don't mark them right behind a rib. And by using the hinge locations on the plans helps alleviate some of that. But you will see I do run into an issue with one of the ribs and later on when we hinging, but generally you shouldn't run into an issue as long as you marking it on the plans between your ribs. But to caveat on that, it does show that hinge running into a rib. I should have marked it over just a little bit just to give it clearance. But that'll be later on and probably the next episode. Alright, I think if I got enough hinges. Alright, there's one done. We'll call it quits for now. I gotta finish up a video and take my nighttime meds. See you later.